The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight.
We could be looking at the collapse of American liberalism. Obamacare is the big thing for them.
Is that true? With President Obama's poll numbers falling below 40%, is the Obamacare debacle the end for the liberal movement in America? We will have a special report.
It says something about if you smoke or something like that. I really don't smoke. I may
lie because your premiums will be higher.
Okay.
One day after our report on Obamacare navigators advising clients to lie and cheat, 4 people have been disciplined. We will have an update. Also ahead on The Factor, Miley Cyrus apparently smoking pot in public, the Chinese after Jimmy Kimmel, and Dennis Miller on violence off the field in the NFL.
Caution, you are about to enter the no spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Will Obamacare be the end of modern liberalism? That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. More bad news for President Obama today. New Quinnipiac poll shows American voters disapproving of his job performance by a 54 to 39% margin. The 39% is the president's lowest approval rating since he took office. White American voters disapproved Mr. Obama by a whopping 62 to 32. Hispanics disapprove 47-41. But black American voters approve of the president's job performance 75% to 15. Among young voters ages 18 to 29, just 36% approve of the job the president is doing, 54% disapprove. And finally, 52% of American voters say Barack Obama is not honest and trustworthy. That's a disaster. And that is what is driving all the chaos in Washington. The president said on a number of occasions that Americans could keep their health care plans if they liked them. That turned out not to be the case, and that is driving Mr. Obama's poll numbers down. Now the bigger picture. Last night on The Factor, Charles Krauthammer opined that the Obamacare debacle may signal the end of the liberal movement.
We have not just Obamacare unraveling, not just the Obama administration unraveling, not just the Democratic majority in the Senate, but we could be looking at the collapse of American liberalism. Obamacare is the big thing for them.
So is Charles correct? Or can the president make a comeback? That's a fascinating question. Don't underestimate Barack Obama. He has powerful allies still. The media has been embarrassed by Obamacare and is now somewhat skeptical of the president. But believe me, if things begin to improve on the Obamacare front, that'll be trumpeted almost everywhere, as it should be. The issue of national health care is so important that facts should rule. Talking Points believes there are a number of good things in the new law. For example, that insurance companies can't cancel your policy if you get sick. That if you get fired, your insurance is not canceled. And that poor children and the elderly in need get covered. Those are all good things. But they can be done in the private sector by targeted legislation. What President Obama will never understand, is that the federal government is not capable of running the healthcare system. Simply can't do it. And the chaos we have now is proof of that. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction joining us from Washington. Republican Kate Obenshain and Democrat Kirsten Powers, also Fox News analyst. So if Krauthammer is correct and liberalism is gone or will be gone, your whole career, Kirsten, it's all over for you. Is it not?
Well, fortunately, Charles is not right about this. So I think that it's not good collapsing, but it has had a major setback. That's what I would say. I think that President Obama actually has been really good at making the case for government being part of the solution, not the problem. I'd say basically throughout his first term, he even managed to probably bring some people around to starting to think that way. And now with this Obamacare rollout, it has been a huge setback for that
now,
argument.
When you say a setback, it's hard to quantify. Charles is basically saying he believes that it could be all over, Kate.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
A setback, I don't know what that means, though. What does that mean?
Well, I think when 53% of the American public think that Obama's incompetent, that's an important number to look at. And it's not necessarily Obama that is being perceived as incompetent, it's government. There's this shift in the perception now. Yes, he made a good argument for government involvement and, frankly, interference, but now we're seeing that when it plays out, it's a debacle. And the most interesting number, I thought, was 54% of young people disapprove of the president. They have walked along.
Why do you think that was? Why do you think they disapprove?
Because a couple of things. I think, first of all, they realize that he's like other politicians. He'll say one thing to get elected, and then he'll do something else. That whole hope and change thing wasn't accurate. But the bigger thing is this redistribution that they thought was such a great idea.
I disagree with you. You know why they disapprove?
Let me just finish my point, please,
No, Carl. You know we have a limit on the segment,
that the redistribution is coming from them, and then it becomes not such a great idea.
Kate, I hate to be rude. You know me. I'm a polite guy.
Oh,
we have a
okay,
limit on the segment, all right? A limit, a time limit.
I wouldn't have taken that much time.
The reason the young people are turning against the president is they can't find decent jobs. That's it. Now, we just got this number in, Powers. Get this number again, okay? Total enrollment in Obamacare in the marketplace, you know, the computers and all of that, after 6 weeks, 6,185 persons after 6 weeks. Now, that's not a disaster. It's not chaos. That's a collapse. So what Kate said is absolutely true, that America is not only losing faith in Obamacare and President Obama, but the government in general to do anything.
Yeah, but I just conceded that at the outset, that this is a setback for the view that the government can be helpful. But I would like to give a little perspective. Americans have been unhappy with the government and have not trusted the government long before Barack Obama got into office.
Yeah, but now
in fact,
it's a crescendo.
Right, but this was one of the things that was identified at the very beginning of his administration by Bill Galston and Elaine Carmack did a great study showing that the biggest problem he's going to face with the American people is they fundamentally don't trust the government in the way that they actually used to. They did a lot of comparison.
But isn't it ironic,
so this is not
Kirsten,
helping that
Isn't
case
it
at all.
ironic that the biggest problem in the beginning of President Obama's tenure that he faced, lack of faith in the government to do anything, has now been exacerbated, used that word yesterday, by him.
Yes.
Now he's making it worse.
Right.
Because
no, I mean it's really bad for the cause.
The cause, your cause. Now I got to ask you ladies a series of very simple questions. I believe President Obama never read the law. Kate, you agree?
No, he didn't read the law, but he knew all the components of it.
I don't think he knew all the components of it.
Yes, he did.
I don't think he
absolutely did.
I don't think so.
He's no fool.
He's no fool, but he doesn't pay attention.
He knew the consequences of the different policies. He had policy people to explain them to him. When he went out there and said, you can keep your health care, he had policy people saying, well, you can't.
Is that the same policy people that explained Benghazi wasn't a spontaneous uprising? The same people?
I'm telling you, Bill, he is not a fool. He makes decisions based on the information he's given and decides how to spend it.
I just don't think he pays attention, Powers. I just don't. I think he does. He's a big picture guy. He wants to be the income redistributor guy, the guy that gives everybody health care. And here's a 975-page law in front of him. They're going to read it, and his people are going to tell him what he wants to hear. That's what it is. They tell him what he wants to hear. Right?
Well, there's no way to really ever know, but if I had to make a guess, he probably didn't read the law. And I think on a lot of different things, he doesn't seem particularly curious. I've said that about the website. If he had just asked some questions like, hey, have you done some tests on the website and how's it handling it? He might have known that it wasn't doing very well, and it was probably not going to work when it was launched. So, you know, I think he has lacked curiosity in a lot of different areas, and, you know, I'm assuming that he probably didn't know all the details.
You know, I want to say one thing.
You are giving him a total pass on this, and this is wrong. He is president of the United States. The key policy ingredient was that people could keep their health care, and he knowingly went out there and told
he's taking it down. We're not giving him a pass.
Yes, you do, Kirsten. He knew that the bill wouldn't work if they couldn't. He knew the bill wouldn't. The policy would not hold up if people were allowed to keep their health care. He knew that.
Well, whatever it may be, because it is speculation, he is getting it right between the eyes now. But I want to say one more thing to Kirsten Powers, who I've known for many years. If indeed liberalism does go down the drain, Kirsten, we're still going to like you. Kate is going to like you. I'm going to like you.
That's all that matters. You know, I just live for you, Bill. I just live for you liking me, and as long as I have that,
we will find a place Maybe Matt is
She's coming to our side anyway.
You know,
She's on her way.
maybe Powers time after Miller time. We will find a place.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Gives me something to hold on to.
Next on the rundown, after the factor ran an undercover report done by Project Veritas. 4 Obamacare navigators were disciplined. We'll have a follow-up. And later, Dennis Miller on violence off the field in the National Football League also. Miley Cyrus once again making a spectacle of herself. And the factor is coming right back.